Hi, this is the Project Spark Alphabet. I'm Lady Lex UK, and today we're doing the letter F, and we're doing the brain tile of Fade, and the prop is the fireworks candle. So let's start off with our brain tile. Now you might be familiar with Fade because it is a prominent part of the Game Over on Trigger brain, which you put in these village flags. There was an achievement for actually putting in the Game Over tile, and a lot of people chose this brain in order to do that particular achievement. So here is a flag, and I've put the brain in it. There it is. So what happens is when the player gets to the trigger zone, it'll play some music, it will fade, and then after 5 seconds it will game over. Now when you're playing it in create mode like this and you do a test, it just goes straight back into create mode. If you're playing it in play, then it will go back to the main screen of your game. So let's see it. Let's see it in action. There we go. It faded to black and game over, and we're back into edit mode. Now let's see what that is all about then. So this is a fade tile, and this transition just tells you how long it's going to take for it to fade to black. Now the transition time here is shorter than this countdown. So what will happen is it will fade to black, and then there'll be 2 seconds of black before the game over starts. Now you don't have to have a transition shorter than the countdown on this. If you don't want it to go completely to black, you could try, let's try 8 seconds. So we're going to try a transition of 8. And you see there's a subtle difference. So it's fading, it's getting darker, but it's not going to get quite to black before game over starts. There we go. So that is what the transition time does. You can, it doesn't have to, you have any number in there that you like. Now if you leave out the transition time completely, this is what happens. It will still fade down exactly the same, it's much quicker. Pretty much 1 second's worth of fade. There we go, as a default. So I forgot we'd already gone back into edit mode. Right, there we go. Now you don't have to. This fade by default will put up a black, black square. You can actually do something interesting here. Let's do fireworks rocket. Fade fireworks rocket. Let's do a transition so we can see it. Let's do a transition of 5 seconds. There we go. And let's see what that does. So it fades up a picture of a firework. Goes from quite opaque to quite solid and quite large. It fills the center of the screen by a default. So you can pick objects, pictures. You can go into icons. So I could pick, what would be a good one? I don't know, that one there. And you can also pick a colour for it, like that. Let's see what that does. Right, well the black didn't seem to make a difference, but hey, we've got a nice big huge, and you can also use scale and things like that. You can change the size. That colouring doesn't do any good, did it? I think we can scale it. No, we can't. No, we can't. Oh well, there you go. So you can put an object in there, and it will put it in instead of the black square that is going to put in there by default. Okay, so that's the Game Over on Trigger, and this is what you would normally have expected to use the fade. So I've used it in a couple more brains. I've used it in a teleporter here. So I've got a couple of flags. I've got a blue one here and a red one over here. And they've both got logic cubes in front of them. And this is the position I'm going to help my player to spawn at when they teleport themselves. And let's see that working. So which flag should we go to? We'll go over to this flag over here. It's B, so it's B. And it goes to black. And it's come back out and I'm at the blue flag. Miraculously. I can do it again with the blue flag. It's gone to black. And I'm at the red flag. That's a pretty nifty transporter, I'm sure you'll agree. So, let's have a look at that code. It's pretty simple. Right, when you interact, we're going to set a boolean called transport to be true. And we're going to set our target person to be it. So that's the person who interacted with the flag. You can change that to player or passenger or teleporting person or whatever you want to put in for your variable, but there we go. I've used target because it was a nice default one that was already in there. Right, when boolean transport is true, we're going to use a duration tile with our fade. What this will do is instead of fading to black and staying at black, it will fade back out from that black back out to normal. So duration of 3 with a fade transition of 3, and we've got a countdown of 3. And then we're moving our player to the logic cube position of that other flag, and then we're turning our boolean off so that we can use it again. And that's it. And they're both exactly the same. The only difference is the in-world picker of the different logic cubes, and you can chain your teleporters. So this one goes to this red one, and that one can go to another one, etc., etc. Or you could stick a menu in if you like. Make it a little bit more complicated, a transporter with various different options. Maybe it can access a map for you, or all sorts of things that you can do with this code. On projectspark.co.uk there are a few teleporting maps for fast travel, etc., etc. that I've made. Have a look at those if you want to make something a little bit more complicated. Right, now over here I've got a little house, and this is going to be a time machine. It's going to teleport us forward in time from day to night and from night to day. So let's have a look at that. So I've got my house. I'm going to go up to the doors. The doors are opening. My character runs in. It starts to fade. And it's now night time, and he runs out. The doors close, and off I go. There we are. And if I run in from this side, if I go up to the doors here, my character will run in. And it's daytime, and it will get slightly more bright. There we go. So we've got daytime. So we can swap from night to day as we like. Okay, so let's have a look at the code for that. Now, as you can see, I've built myself a little house here, and I've got a camera, and I've got a logic cube. Now, this is logic cube, which is where I want him to run out to. And all the workings for the teleporter here is in the door. But I've also got a couple of non-collidable primitives here, just making that blackness so that he runs through it into this area towards this logic cube here, which is where I get him to run to. So here is my logic. Here's my logic for this. I've got a few pages, but it's a lot of copy and pasting, so you're all good. Right, when you detect the player, power on and open the doors. Our player equals it. Else, power off, the doors will close. So as soon as you walk away, the doors will close. When the doors have power, we're going to do a countdown of 2 seconds. That allows the doors to open. And we're going to turn on our camera gizmo, which is in front of the house. Now, that will automatically take priority over your player's camera until it's turned off again, and your player camera will go back to being the one to use. Right, player turn towards logic cube. That's that logic cube at the back there inside the house, and we'll move towards the logic cube with a minimum distance of 0, so it'll get to the logic cube completely. It won't just slow down and stop before it gets there. So this little player has been taken over, really. You're not in control of it running in. It will run in automatically. Then after 4 seconds it will check whether the sky is a night sky already or a day sky, and it will go to the obvious page that we need. So we'll go to page 2, which is the sky is day and we want to turn it to night. So we have a duration of 5, and there's our fade tile. We're going to transition 8, so it's not going to get completely dark. We don't want it to go to completely black. We just want to get it slightly more dark so that it goes to a nice night sky. Then we're going to do a countdown time of 5, and then the sky equals night clear. And then our player is going to turn towards our logic cube, and the player moves towards that logic cube with minutes of 0, and that logic cube is the one outside the house, so that's him running out. And then after a countdown of 8, we're going to turn our camera gizmo off and switch back to page 1. And page 3 is an exact copy, so we're going to change the transition time on that fade to 10 seconds instead, and I'll change our sky to the day clear. Otherwise it's exactly the same. And that is it. That's a little house for changing from day to night, and that you might have special things that go on in your game. If you're making a game like an RPG, for example, where you need to run through a few hours, or certain things are only available at night and that sort of thing, you can use that. And there is our little house. So that was the fade tile. I hope that was useful. So now we'll go on to our prop. Now normally what I'll do is I'll pick a prop and I'll do some nice code with it, and we'll do something interesting. But today I'm going to give you a warning. I've been playing about with various props and I thought I'd have a go at this one. This is the fireworks candle. Now it's perfectly alright like this, no problem. You can put as many of these in your world as you like with its power off. The problem starts when you turn its power on. Now that can be with a brain, where you have an interact turn the power on, or anything that turns the power on onto this candle. And I'm going to show you what the problem is. So I'm going to go into properties, and I'm going to go into brain, and I'm going to see its power is off. I'm going to turn the power to on. Now, as you can see, the candle is now burning away because I've turned it on. The power is on, and its animation for a power on is this special effect of a spark and a burning sound. Okay, very nice. Now let's turn it off. Go back to properties, go back to brain, and turn the power off. The special effect has stopped, but I think you can hear the burning hasn't. That burning sound is still playing. That's not good. So, okay, we'll delete the prop. Oh dear, I've deleted the prop and that noise is still playing. Oh well, maybe it's only in create mode. It's not a problem. Let's go into test. No, I can't hear it. Oh, hang on. Yeah. If I move over here, I can definitely still hear it. It's still playing that burning noise. So there we go. Now this is a bug. It's really loud in create mode, and around the area where we had the prop, and because we haven't got the prop there anymore. Now, you may think this is a disaster. It's not. If this happens in your game, please don't use this prop, is what I'm saying. The fireworks candle. It's not a very attractive prop. You can use it with the power off, but do not turn the power on this prop. it is a disaster. This also means do not use it as the fireworks candle assembly. Which is basically the same. Here we are, fireworks candle. I haven't tried this, so this will be interesting. We're going to test mode. You can hear that noise still going on. We'll press B, and we're going to set off this fireworks candle, which is very pretty and very nice. Very lovely. And there we go, it's still burning away. They both do exactly the same thing. And it's really loud and annoying, and it doesn't matter if I delete my prop, it's still there. Right, if you were to save this, do not worry. Once you get into the next session, once you've saved it, exit it and come back in, the sound has gone. But the best thing to do, I'll just prove that. So we'll save this. So that's saved. We'll exit. And we'll go back in. You will notice I'm using my husband's account because I've actually filled my account on mine. I've got no more space. I'm having to start deleting stuff. So I'm building most of this stuff on his account now. Because I've run out of room. Anyway, so you can hear now there's no candles. We did save it, but there's no candle sound, there's no burning sound. So it is not a complete disaster, but it is very annoying if you've got it in your world and you didn't know what was causing it. That's what's causing it. Okay, so fireworks candle, do not use it. Right, I hope that was useful for you today. So that was the fade tile with a teleporter and a time machine. And also the fireworks candle with a warning not to use it. Do not use it! Okay, thank you very much for watching and keep sparking!